I'm gonna wait for a few people to get on here. We'll see how this goes. I'm in my car today and it's beautiful and it's sunny. I wanted to park the other way because I was like, oh, it might be too hot. And I don't want to open the windows because, yeah, I keep hearing loud cars or a plane or something. It's like planes, trains, and automobiles out there. Excuse me. Welcome for being here. I'm Love. It's a pleasure to meet you. This is Love with Live with Love. Little blonde moment there. This morning has been interesting. As I've talked about before in my last couple lives, there's been a heaviness coming in for me. And so if you're here, this might be resonating with you. You might be feeling something getting ready to be let go of is the most that I can say. Oh, hello, my friend. I'm doing well. How are you? I'm just looking at the comments real quick. Pleasure to have you here. Thanks for joining. So yeah, everyone, thank you for being here. There's been a lot of the heaviness that has been coming in. It's not heavy today. I feel like I personally was lifting out of it yesterday, and then today I felt a little fluctuation in it. So you might be experiencing the same thing. Interestingly enough, there's a lot coming up. This morning, there were some people that reached out to me that were talking about the sadness that they've been going through and the immense hardness, like difficulty on their heart and their well-being. They didn't know how to continue forward, and yet they continue forward in life. And I was like, wow, this theme is still kind of coming up of heaviness, sadness, depression seems to be coming up to be worked with, to be seen. Some people are trying to control it, I've noticed. Oh, I'm a bit laggy, is that what you're saying? Or is it okay? I'm just checking in with my people here. If you're here live, let me know. Can you hear me okay? I wasn't sure about this particular spot. I came over here because it had full bars and then it had like one bar. So let me know if it's normal again, because I might pop off. Okay, I'm all good. Great. So there's some heavy to be to see what that is for me to share with you guys. I ended up going and pulling 2 cards before coming on here. And the 2 cards that came up it was interesting because I didn't actually pull these 2 cards the other day, but as I was flipping through the book to look for the other one that had come up yesterday, which was this one, right? Which has to do with going beyond the mind and listening to the heartbeat. That it's your inner sacred space that is going to give you the answers, right? Interestingly enough, these 2 cards, this one right here, follow your own rhythm. So just kind of breathe into that for a moment. And I'm going to show you another card. Follow your own rhythm. And the Sacred Fool. I got on yesterday onto a short and I was talking about Marilyn Monroe. And she'd come up in my regular playing card deck before, but as the Joker. And I was explaining how she was no fool. She was a very smart woman. Even though she had this amazing body and everybody, what did they say? They say that men wanted to be with her and women wanted to be her. Like, she brought love from everybody. And what comes up here is a Sacred Fool. Take a breath in there. In both these cards, if you notice, both of them, the image is nude, right? Or partially nude in both these cards. This idea of how we dress ourselves up on a daily basis, the personas that we put on, the identity that we want the world to see, right? I come on here with you guys daily and I'm like, all right, let's show up properly. Let's get a little makeup going. Let's do the hair. Let's, how am I doing right here, right? And then there was a time that I showed up and I was just out in the mountains, right? And what I had was what I had. But how many times we dress up for others? We put on these personas, right? These masks. And we're being asked more and more to remove these masks, to remove the identities that others have put on us, or the identities that we are giving ourselves. They might not be appropriate for the journey that you are on now. And I've seen this in my life. I've seen this with others that I'm around, and I'll kind of watch, just observe, not judge, but notice. Wow, that person's doing a lot of spiritual work. But then I notice that their life is not reflecting that knowledge that they're obviously drawn to. Like their soul wants them to go to that knowledge, to connect more in here, but they're still very focused on the external, and it's hard for them to break out of that. And I was kind of feeling really appreciative. Like I was really feeling thankful that I'm in that place where I can switch. I talked the other day about switching, that there are ways of alchemizing. There's ways of transmuting what's happening in your reality and then like quantum leaping, time jumping to another space, right? You don't like what's happening in front of you? Okay, how do you switch up the energy? Hello, everybody. Yes, that's a little bit of what this channel is about. It's about playing with your frequency. It's about connecting to your heart and listening more internally about the steps to take forward. We often stop ourselves, so here we are talking about how to take steps forward. And heavy energies have been coming in, and they come and go, right? They ebb and flow. We're always told, right? Ebb and flow, ebb and flow. And it's all easy to talk about that when we're all being spiritual and everything. And then, life hits us and we're like, oh my God, just like take the knife out, right? Like it hits us hard. And for some of us that, there are people out there with such great anxiety that they're like, how do I breathe? I can't breathe. And I've gone over different things with those particular people and just, worked it out slow. But this is what came up. Both these cards came up. Go to your own rhythm and the Sacred Fool. And both these cards and the card we chose yesterday all has to do with not paying attention to the external. And it's like, love, how do we do that? How do we not pay attention to like the bills that have to be paid, and this came up, and my car has to be fixed, and this person in my life is really unhappy and I'm trying to help them. How do we do that? How do we do that thing that Yeshua talked of, right? Be in this world, but not of it, right? What that has to do with is frequency. You get to choose in every now moment what emotion you want to hold, what response you're going to have with everything that happens in your life, right? Okay, I'm just checking out here. We got a question. How do you stay so free-spirited yet still get things done, right? That's just what I was talking about. So we are human and there are human things to take care of, right? After this live, I'm going to the courthouse to ask a few different questions about some information I received, right? To see if it's accurate, if it's not accurate, and kind of go from there. So there are times that we are asked to show up somewhere, and we don't know what that's going to all be about, right? So we go, and there's a thing that can happen. We can get all nervous. We can start making up stories in our head, right? And the way to be in this world but not of this world is to hold your trueness of who you are, and to take things steps, small steps, before your mind starts working about whatever stories could possibly happen in your life. For example, you could decide you're driving along and a person gets pulled over, right? And all of a sudden, it's crap, right? Holy crap is what most people think. They see those lights and they're like, holy crap. And then they pull over to the side and they kind of like assume the position, right? And basically, you're asked for different information. And how do you handle that when that happens? Are you polite? Are you not polite? Do you argue with the person? Do you not argue with the person? Are you so silent and such a like goody two-shoes? You're like, I'm sorry. What do you do? Are you honorable? Do you just talk with authority but respect? It's not always easy to stay so uplifting. It's not. I, by nature, am a very uplifting person, and I choose to see things very much like glass totally full. And anything that comes into my field that is crunchy and uncomfortable, I will breathe into it. I'll just kind of sit there. And if I haven't reacted, because it's quite possible for me to like react or overreact as well, just like any of you. But I'm at this place in life now where I'm just kind of like, someone will give me information and I'll be like, okay. And they look at me like, okay. And I'm like, well, not okay, but okay. I'm just taking it in. I'm just taking a moment and I'm digesting it, right? That's kind of how we move through those moments. Let me look at the questions here. Yeah. All right. So that's kind of how you're part of the world. You're in it, but you're not of it, right? That's a practical way of, excuse me, throat clearing. What's funny is I never have the throat clearing until I come on here with you guys. Maybe if I'm like belting it out and singing in my car, but that hasn't been for a while. Maybe it's like a clear sign to kind of clear out those vocals, right? It's me speaking my truth, maybe when I haven't spoken my truth, right? So now I get to clear it out here with you guys. So we're being asked to look at the heavy stuff. We're also being asked not to dwell on it. I learned this morning that depression, the hardest thing you'd think in a family that depression would be like the mother and the father, right? Going through what they're going through, taking care of the family. But this morning, there was a video that came up that said, no, it's the eldest. It's the eldest son or daughter that carries the brunt of that energetic depression. And it's because they feel like they have to hold it all together, especially if there are other siblings involved. They will, and this goes for me too, this is part of my background, is I was a mediator between both of my parents. You might resonate with that. Were you in the middle of some of their stuff? I allowed my parents to go through and do what they would do, right, when they weren't getting along with each other's. But there was a time where I remember experiencing fear as a child, like, okay, it's gone too far. the voices have gotten too high, or there was silence amongst all the yelling, right? And I felt like it was my job to go down there and either stop what was happening or diffuse it. And I've been doing that most of my life growing up, was diffusing bombs, basically. I have the ability, and have always had the ability, to go into a tangled situation, feel into that tangled situation. It's part of, like, say, my gifts that I never really knew was a gift, and kind of clean things up. The reason I didn't know it was a gift was because I was put down for that particular thing, like in romantic relationships, a little bit with family, like, you don't know what you're talking about, you think you know everything. And this wasn't me being high and mighty, but it was me, like, having a deep, like, I knew how something had the potential of going, like, feeling into that timeline, and what possibly needed to be done before that occurred, or like a potential, if somebody was going after something really great, they would be like, later on, it would be like, oh, you know that thing you told me about? Yeah, it totally ended up happening that way. I didn't believe it, etc., etc. I thought you were just kind of, giving your opinion or something. And I would get these confirmations. No, your knowing is correct. What you're feeling is correct. If you're in a place of centeredness and you're not, how would I say this? If you're not in a place where you're, let me feel into that for a minute. I want to say, like, hyped up or something, caffeinated up. That's the like vision I get, is someone like high on caffeine, like, like, and they're going and they're going and they're not pausing and they're not stopping. They're just go, go, go. If you're in a place where you're centered, if you can, like, easily listen to someone and hear their words and not have an opinion, but have a neutrality to it, there's a lot of truth that comes right out of you. And it's amazing when that occurs, right? Because you know what you're speaking is truth. The person in front of you might have no idea. They might just think it's a random thing you're saying. So some of you might be like me, and you have this ability to feel into truth. To feel into truth of, like, what someone is saying to you, to feel into the truth, your own truth, to call bullshit on your own self. There are many times I talk with someone and I'll be having general conversation and I'll say something and then I'll pause and I'll ask myself, is this true? And I'll kind of wait. And then I'll tell them, oh yeah, that's totally true. And I'll continue, or I will stop myself and I will say, actually, hold on, that's not totally true. Let me backpedal a little bit, and then I'll correct myself. This is part of what we kind of can do on the spiritual path. It's that sacred pause that we take. Sometimes it's meditative, and it's with our hands on our hearts, right? I totally did swear, didn't I? Yes, I don't swear very much, but occasionally it might happen, I guess. I love this card game called Bullshit. I've never played it, but I want to play it. It's in a movie, so I just loved the reaction it had when people were kind of like calling BS on each other. And I'm kind of like that when I work with people. It wasn't easy. There are a few, like, coaching sessions I've done in the very beginning of this work, like the last couple of years, where I was like, okay, someone wanted to have actual coaching, and then I would coach them and they were really grateful, but they were also, I could feel a lot of resistance. They did not want to hear what I had to say. And I thought about, like, my delivery also, right? How do I deliver the messages when, and this was before, mind you, this is before I started kind of stopping like this and just feeling and letting, I don't know if you want to call it spirit, source, letting messages come out of me while I'm breathing and with my eyes closed. This is me just talking like I'm talking with you. And when I'm talking like I'm talking with you, sometimes they would see it as opinion. Even though the same, sorry, the same inner message comes out. I would say it's probably a little more slow and clear when it's coming this direction, like when I'm fully tapped into the heart as opposed to just speaking this way. But if you've noticed from some of the messages that come out of me, you'll notice that some of it is repeating. Oh, she just told us that. Well, I just told you that because that's what's coming through from like heart source. That's what's coming through, right? And then I tap in this way and it's more like, okay, now I'm confirming, is what I said true? And is there something else to add to what I said for you guys? So that's happened before. That's why I say I'm not, I don't consider myself like a life coach. What seems to be happening on this channel is I will occasionally share personal information, and this is recent because of all the heaviness that's been coming up and things related to depression. Now, I'll tell you a little thing. I've never been never been diagnosed with depression, like severe depression, and never had to take medication for depression. I will say that whilst I was on like the pill in my early teens, there was some of that going on. And I did get off of that because I felt like it was messing with my body, right? So our body will tell us different things. It's like a barometer. And if we listen to the emotions that are rising up, if we pay attention and just don't like say, I don't want to feel that right now, or that's too harsh right now, you have every choice to do that. You can put it in a little box, but acknowledge it. Put it in a little box. This came through in like a different message, a meditation, and just put it in the box for later, knowing that it's there. And then when you have time, excuse me, when you have time and you can address what's coming up for you, so you know you're at work, you're like, I can't handle this right now. You can go back when you finally have that time and take a quick peek into that box and be like, okay, let me address what I was feeling earlier. Like just take a mental note to come back to it. Okay, I'm just going to take a look right here. All right. Some people don't like my swearing. Yeah. I recently there's something behind the swearing. There's something about not being the good girl. So think about that for a moment. Are you the person that has always been the good boy, the good girl? Some of what I learned is being that mediator between my parents. Some of that had to do with if I was good, because they seemed to have a lot of problems, right? They seemed to have like different things they would fight about when they would fight. They loved each other immensely. And then I saw the complete opposite. There was very rarely a middle ground. So when they disagreed, I was that person that was the mediator. I was that person that took on that leader, mediator role and said, okay, this is what Mom is saying. This is what Dad is saying. Dad, are you hearing this? Mom, are you hearing this? This was me. This was me being the good girl. I also had confirmation on that, right? Oh, such a good girl, you know, from grandparents and uncles and so you think that all of this would be a good thing. And it is a good thing to be a good person at heart, because that's what I was, that's what I am. I'm all about the heart and following the heart and being confused when I'm asked not to follow my heart or to be something different. There we go again, the whole mask thing, the whole, the fool. The fool is exactly who they want to be. They're not the fool like they don't know what they want in life. They know exactly who they are. If they want to put on a silly hat, they're going to put on a silly hat and they're not going to care what people think. Like me saying bullshit. I'm not going to care what people think, right? Because that's what seems appropriate at the time. Do I want to continue swearing? No. But there is something about it. There's this person on Instagram, and her name is Florence Given. Check her out. She also has a YouTube. I'm not sure about her YouTubes yet because she's more of a motivational speaker. And I love that about her because why? We all need a pep talk. Even I need a pep talk sometimes when it's just feeling really heavy or stuck. Like sometimes we feel that way, right? So check her out, Florence Given. She's talking about a lot of things about where she is now. She's a London gal who is now in LA. She's got bright pink hair. She reminds me of me. Just a couple years ago, I had fuchsia hair. Pink is slowly coming back into my life again. I have a bag with pink roses. I have a small little bag that I recently purchased that's pink. I have tennis shoes that are pink, and I'm like, what is going on with the pink? Pink and roses. And a lot of it has to do with tapping into the divine feminine. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to open a window. No, I didn't fart. But we need some fresh air in here. I'm going to do this until, yes, fresh air. And I've got geese out here. I'm currently in Golden, Colorado. Let me know if it gets too loud. That feels really beautiful, actually, the breeze. Ooh. So, we had a couple cards that came up. What do we need right now? We've talked about heaviness, we've talked about releasing it, we've talked about acknowledging it, and we've talked about not letting the mind influence us. It's the mind that wants you to live in the world and not just be of it. It's the mind that wants you to pay attention to all the rules and all the guidelines and stay directly on that rule. Stay within the rule. And I've always been one of those people earlier that would rather ask forgiveness than permission. And I fluctuate back and forth on that because as I've learned different things about like our American rights and how many freedoms we give away just from the very beginning, I definitely pay attention to that fine line of needing to follow the rules and when to step off that path and not follow the rules. And when I say step off that path, I mean ask more questions. It's really just about asking more questions. Any person you deal with, any person that you have to get answers from in this world is going to have a perspective. It's fully their perspective. There might be rules in the background and guidelines, kind of like we talked about, like that officer pulling someone over and being like, this is the rule book, right? But that person is also going to have their perspective. So it's important to ask the right questions when it comes to that kind of thing. And yes, you can ask questions of an authority figure. We're taught not to ask questions. From childhood, we're told to there used to be that whole be seen and not heard thing. Or you show honor to these people, these elders, by not asking questions. I have never taught that. I have always, people in my life, told them, hey, ask the questions. Even if it's me, ask the questions, because when you ask a question, that allows for space in the other person. And when you allow for space in the other person, they all of a sudden, they take a pause. They take that sacred pause and they're kind of like, wait, is that really true? And again, it depends on where they are in life, but you can ask those questions that are confusing sometimes, or you're just wondering about how something works. And the more you ask, you might find that there's an opening somewhere. I hope that makes sense. All right, I have a lot of, hold on, let me look at the comments real quick. The Fool is the best. People have never seen this side of me. I'm glad you like it. Awesome. And I really don't care if you do either. Just to go along with what I said before. Hey guys. An anonymous group is here. I'm not sure what that means. So there's a group that meets here at 11:11 Pacific time every day. And yes. Okay, here we go. So yeah, this anonymous group, eventually this anonymous group will have a name. I'm coming up with my website and I'm figuring out, eventually I'm sure there'll be a name for this particular group. Everybody has snazzy little names for their spiritual groups as they come along. Why? Why do they have names? I don't know. It's how we identify everything, right? Why do you have a name? Why do I have a name? A lot of us have names that we weren't given. We didn't have a choice in them a lot of the time, and yet we did, because we chose our parents. Yes, we chose our parents. If you haven't heard of that, you came in with a plan, and that plan shifts depending on your choices, but yeah, you got to choose your parents, which I think means you chose your name. I never liked my given name, so I choose otherwise. All right, guys. I want to take a moment with you guys now. I did a lot of talking today. Part of it was because I was trying to figure out what's coming through energetically. Why am I talking about heaviness and depression? And it's possibly because some of you guys out there are going through different shades of that. So that's why I'm talking about it with you. And as you go through these shades, these variations, this wide spectrum, see, if you think of it that way, like all the heaviness, all the rainbows of colors that we go through, right? Some of it is from our heritage, some of it is from religion, some of us don't have a lot of that background and it's from something else. It's just a reminder. It's a reminder that you're not alone, that we're all here together. Even if you're an introvert, as some of you have pointed out, and you don't feel like you belong with anybody, you belong. You completely belong. So I'm going to say welcome home. Welcome home to that which is the trueness of you. Just by you showing up here at 11:11 Pacific time with me on a daily basis shows you care. There's something in you that knows that there's more for you out there. And you also know that some of the stuff that we have to deal with in life is real, but we don't have to be in it, right? We don't have to stick our muddy shoes in it. We can come out of it and we can go around, you know, or we can just tromp right through it, right? Sometimes it calls for like, I'm just going to tromp right through this. I might leave my boot behind in that muddy mess, and that's okay because I still possibly have my sock. And I'll just get a new pair of shoes, right? There's a lot of crap that we walk through on a day-to-day basis. So I guess this message is that you're not alone. We're all going through it together. And it's just looking different for everybody. Okay. So we're at 30 some minutes. I want to take a moment with you guys. Can you take a moment with me? Do you have the time? We're going to do a little bit of breathing. We're going to feel into our hearts, and I'm going to see what is coming up. And I'm going to kind of ask, too, what's going on with this subject? Because I don't know. Such an odd thing for me to talk about right now. But it seems to be relevant. So if it's relevant, it's authentic, right? So take a moment with me. I'm going to put you right here on my steering wheel. I'm going to turn up this beautiful music that somebody in a campground gave to me. I was up on Shasta Mountain, and he's like, here, I produced this music a little while ago, and it's angelic music. He was feeling that angel energy with me, is what he was telling me. I really appreciate all of you empaths that really feel a person's energetic field and get a good sense of them. And you pick up more than others of us pick up, by the way. And sometimes you feel like it's a detriment to you because it makes you feel so much. And that goes with the high energies and the low energies. But I want to say thank you to you, to all of you who feel that way and then are able to relay to some of us who don't always have a sense of that, right? Have a sense of what's coming up. So thank you. Thank you for all that you go through. And all that you're willing to give to others. Thank you. All right, we'll see how this goes. I seem to be throaty. By the way, when this happens, there is nothing like I am completely healthy. I am such a healthy person, and I've been for so long that it's so strange when I come on here and things clear out. But I also work with quantum healing. So what's happening through my words, through the vibration, it's not just the meaning of the words themselves. As someone pointed out, it's all about perspective. They pointed that out in the comments. So there's something that you're receiving from here. It's possible that I'm transmuting some of the heaviness also. I'm just asking if that's true. Okay, I'm getting a sense of that. There's some heaviness that those who watch this video live and watch it on the replay have within them, whether they're sensing it or they're not sensing it. There's some heaviness in play. There's also some old wounds in play having to do with not being able to be yourself or thinking you need to change yourself in some way. Okay, this is a little different. I haven't done this before. Hold on just a moment. Yeah, okay, so what you received here, I don't know if you've been here for the whole thing or the part of the thing. I will say if you haven't been here for the whole thing, go ahead and catch the replay. It'll be available tomorrow because they all take about a night. Why? Because they're like 50 minutes long. Anywhere from 30 to 50. And these meditations and breathings can happen at any time. Sometimes it's in the very beginning at 11:11, a few minutes in, and sometimes it's later. Just closing my eyes right now so I can kind of feel into the energy. Take a breath with me and breathe in and breathe out. Listen to the frequency in the background and this music is very angelic. I'm gonna close my windows for you guys. Very angelic. Okay, I gotta turn on my car. Hold on. Otherwise I might end up with a, hold on just a moment. I don't want to end up with a dead battery. Okay. Hand on your heart if you would. Other hand below your navel. And I just want you to take a breath, a nurturing breath. There were a lot of things we talked about today, some heavy things. We talked about clearing, leaving behind, but acknowledging. Breathe in and breathe out. If you need to, do a little drum roll, if you will, on yourself. Okay, I want to do something fun with you guys as we're breathing here. Obviously, you're still breathing because you want to be alive. Okay, I want you to try something with me. I don't know why we're doing this right now, but we're going to do it. Here we go. It might sound a little loud, so turn your volume down a bit. Ready? I'm going to beat on your chest like you're Tarzan. Those of you who don't know who Tarzan is, he was a boy who was left in the jungle. His parents died,